welcome back. Carparts.com has seen significant growth over the last 5 consecutive quarters, but can that growth be sustained? We're joined now by David Meniane, Chief Operating Officer and Chief Financial Officer for Carparts.com. David, great to have you here with us. So let's just start with that question that I asked about that sustainability around growth. What kind of growth are you anticipating, not only for the second half of 2021, but also into 2022?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I think, that's a great question. We're definitely anticipating some more growth. We spent the last 2.5 years making some investments in the company on the talent side, the supply chain side, technology, marketing, and we definitely feel like we can continue to grow. Right now, we're taking share from the online marketplaces, we're taking share from the brick and mortar, and we're the fastest growing retailer in the space.
David, tell us how things are looking in the supply chain world, because we keep talking about car prices, used cars, new cars. Prices are just going through the roof. There's all this demand and not enough cars to fill the demand. And a big part of that is because you've got this computer chip shortage and these supply chain constraints. You are always dealing with these auto parts. What has it been like for your business?
Yeah, absolutely. I think every retailer is feeling, the impact of the supply chain disruption, not just auto parts. I think we've been lucky because we've been loading up on inventory since last year. I think all retailers have to find creative solutions to push through. So whether it's going to different ports or domestic supplies or different countries, but everyone's feeling the pain. But I think we're in a really good position. We have over $100 million of inventory on the books. We're still building inventory. We're expanding our supply chain. So I feel really good about where we are.
That's pretty incredible that you had the foresight to stock up the way you did. Why did you buy so much inventory ahead of these issues? Did you do that during the pandemic, and what drove you to do that?
Yeah, we absolutely did that during the pandemic. To us, inventory is our oxygen. So we look at, building a business as a marathon, and the more oxygen you can take in, the more success you can have in the future. So we're a supply chain company as much as we are a technology company, and inventory is where it's at, and the people with the parts are the ones that are going to win in the future. So we're going to keep building inventory, we're going to keep expanding our footprint, and that's how we're going to win.
David, we just got some key inflation indicators just yesterday from the Consumer Price Index. How do you see inflation continuing to weigh on your business? Right now, the used car market is really essentially a huge driver of some of these inflationary rises that we've been seeing.
Yeah, you have inflation on raw materials. You have the increase in transportation cost, which ultimately ends up impacting the cost of goods. So it's definitely impacting all retailers. I think, we're in a good position because historically, auto retailers have a better, they have a better way of passing on the increase to the customers. But, it's a balance between increasing prices and managing margin. So I think it's a challenge, but we're in a pretty good position to take on that challenge.
What are you hearing, David, from your customers right now? Are there particular parts that they're really looking for that are in demand that may be difficult for them to get?
I think it's across the board. We see it in all categories. We see it in replacement parts, and we see it in mechanical parts. We have our own brands, but we also sell, other premium brands, and there is a shortage of parts. That's for sure. I can see some of my competitors running out of inventory. I can see some of the competitors kind of holding off on paying the extra transportation charges. What I can tell you is that for us, we're going to keep buying. We're going to keep bringing the inventory because ultimately, the one with the parts is the one who's going to win.
And David, I want to ask now about your auto parts being sold online and what you're anticipating moving forward, especially as we come out of the pandemic. I know that there has been a huge boom of these auto parts being sold online, but what are you anticipating moving forward with some of these online sales?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's definitely been kind of an accelerated shift of offline to online. It's very similar to what we've seen in other industries, furniture, Wayfair, or mattresses, or pet foods. I think, there hasn't been a player like us to make the commitment to kind of build an entire supply chain. I've seen a lot of marketplaces with, a very wide assortment of parts. And, what we're trying to do is trying to replicate the experience that you have in a brick and mortar and sell the entire job, sell the solution. And until someone like us actually does it, the online penetration is going to remain in low single digits. But I think it's going to take someone like us to lead and actually push that online penetration even further.
You're in that enviable position with all that inventory, but I guess my question is, where are you storing all of these parts? I don't know if as soon as you get them, you're selling them because of the parts shortage, but are you looking to expand your physical footprint as you look for more warehouse space?
So both, you're absolutely right. Our turns have increased. As soon as the inventory comes in, it goes out, and it's been a challenge to build up inventory. We are definitely investing in expanding our footprint. 2.5 years ago, when our new team joined, we had 2 distribution centers. Today we have 5. We just signed a lease to expand in one of the buildings next door. That's going to be 6. We're going to be expanding in Florida. That's going to be 7. And ultimately, you can expect us to get closer and closer to the customers. And more footprint, more inventory, more outbound capacity means more sales.
All right, David Meniane, Chief Operating Officer and Chief Financial Officer of Carparts.com. Thanks so much for joining us.